Inside the Head of Emotional Chaos and How to Live with It. Written by Nate M Riverland. Released 2024. Chapter 4. The Lowest Point. This I got would be sort of the first chapter in time I would write about. But I think it is one in the middle. I have in so many years been working through this. Am I done, and it feels like open a closed wound? But just looking back should be okay if it is healed. Or do I miss something here? Maybe like the other chapters I written, I will figure some of these questions out by going back one more time. The lowest point. Meaning when I were the least of living life. I did nearly not function, and I did not really want to live. I was even thinking about ending my life. Okay, here happens one reflection already. Unlike in coming chapter Burning Water, I can much faster say directly what happened. Is that because I have sort of rehabilitated me more here? Or is this something I am not so ashamed of? It is not in society something that uncommon to speak about and therefore easily rehabilitated. Or was it simply longer time ago? Back to it. My lowest point. It happened after I should had finished my last year on the university. After my 5th year, and with the last half year writing the master thesis. I actually loved writing that. Well, at least doing the work for it. I wrote a program in MATLAB to simulate a problem that had before been proven in theory already. I will not go into details because then my pseudonym would been blown, and that is nothing I would like, hence to respect of my friends and family. Like I said somewhere, this is not to blame or hang out anyone, it is to not feel alone. But you get the point. I was programming sort of. And all you programmers out there, we do that best at night, do you not agree? It is so quiet still and nice when no one else is up. And when you finally go to sleep, you start the program so it could run during. Multitasking is important if you actually should make time and effort to sort of get it finished before deadline. And I did not fully get it finished before deadline. So I had to shorten it up a bit. Made the problem smaller. But the report was still not finished in time. So I was working on it, long into the summer. Mostly in the nights. The stress got very high. What would I do if it dragged out on time a hell lot more? Next semester I had nothing to do. No studies to get CSN and no work as I was not finished. And to focus on that so I then could finish the thesis was too much also. But I did apply to some courses to get CSN money. And therefore it was also no hurry to move, as I rented a student apartment. But the stress was there. And I also had courses left I needed to write the examination for before I got my exam. So after half a year and also a month into the summer, I followed with 2 weeks working with the thesis in a 2 high speed. With 2 days awake working on it, and 1 day passed out of tiredness, I reached my limit. I remember in those 2 weeks thinking life is no good, life is no good. But I needed to do just this. Just this, and then it would be fine. But life is no good. It would be much easier to just sign out now. I had my horse still and drove to him 3 times a week. And driving behind a truck I got, why just not only drive of the road? And that was a scary got. Had I come to that? I think it was the same evening as that I went to my very good friend, let's call her Barrett. I do not remember how we came into it, but I think she saw that all was not fine with me, so we must had talked about it. And I got my first panic attack. I had never had one before. I believe I was crying, sobbing, shaking when sitting on the floor holding my friend's leg for almost 1 hour. She just sat there with me. Not doing anything, just sat there. She had been through this before, and could keep calm, and just be there for me. After there is no energy left. Hard even to stand up. So we sat on the floor eating ice cream for a while and also talking about what just happened. Then we drove to Max, a Swedish hamburger place, to fill up the energy bars in total, and also to do something. That helped for the time being. But this was just the start of falling down the cliff, so to speak. Before even think of climbing up, you of course need to be there in the mud for a while. But that night it was obvious that I could not live my life as before. I needed to stop everything. And that now. So I called my parents in the middle of the night and described what happened so they could not expect anything from me from now on. I emailed my examiner and supervisor that I had broke down and I would finish the thesis when I got better, and I did not know when that would be. Then the mud part was a reality. I still was by my horse 3 times a week, but that was it. Otherwise I was like in a zone. I remember that I was looking on the series Prison Break to escape my reality. Many times I was not more than a vegetable sort of. Just lying in bed. I remember one morning, maybe not morning, but one day waking up and I could not get out of bed. I could not. The panic started just of the thought of it. And as many would think, just do it, do not think so much would make me even worse. That had led me to this place. Not listening to my limits, and just do. So I called my father and said I do not know what to do. I cannot get out of bed even if I am hungry and need something to eat. So he needed to help me over the phone step by step, talked me through it. Stretch your legs. Talk about something else. Roll over. Talk about something else. Take one leg over the edge of the bed. Talk about something else, and so on. I believe it took me like half an hour to make me that sandwich. Why I choose to call my father and not, for example, my mother, I believe is because he do not overreact in situations like this. He is a person that is logical and always trying to find solutions. I did not have energy to absorb another person's personal reaction towards my situation also. I had enough with my own. I still did go to my horse 3 times a week. And once again behind a truck I thought, would it not be easier just to drive off this road? I started to think about it, really think about it. Ending my life. But what would happen to my horse? He was my responsibility. And get everything in order for him first would make a red flag for people around me. Everyone knew how much I loved this horse. And the truth would start to come out. So that would not be an option. How would I then deal with this pain I had inside? Nothing in my life made sense anymore. The purpose of living was gone. This is not life. Now I know the serotonin hormones levels was, well, fucked up at this point. It was not an easy way to find my way back. Under a phone call with my father, not a bad one as I remember, I started carving my arm with a key. I carved. And carved. And it felt good. A friend of mine noticed the wound and told me that if I did not seek help she would drive me to the hospital herself. And it got to me. This is not good. Really not good. That carving in the arm is the only thing that felt good. The red lamp was lightened for me now. So after that, I asked 2 friends of mine to follow me to the health center and I met both a doctor and a curator. I got a prescription from the doctor. Sertraline. As I understood it, it helps the serotonin level in your body to stay up. And I think it did. I was not that deep in the mud with it, but I could not either feel a big happiness with them. So I was in a sort of gray zone of emotions. Still for a while I did had panic attacks whenever I felt cornered or to pushed even though I was medicated. Like, I had been ordered to go out and watch the trees once every day. And I told my parents that when visiting them, and I also said that I thought it was hard to get myself out every day. And they said, but just do it. And I first froze and then panicked. So I ran out of the house to the garden, and fell down on the grass panicking and trying to breathe. Another homework I got was so damn good was that whenever I got a bad thought, I would save it to the evening every day. Every day between 20.00 and 20.30 I was allowed to think all those bad thoughts that I had earlier that day. This helped me so much. I did not need to think all that bad directly because I had a meeting with myself every evening already scheduled. Thanks to the curator that I do not remember the name of. You helped me get my life back. I had the prescription for like a year. Even if they helped me, there is always a backside of pills. One night when I just started take them I woke up. Feeling really weird. Walking to the bathroom and splashed water in my face. Still feeling weird and like the world was slowly spinning or turning is maybe a better description. I was holding on to the walls starting to go back to the bed. But my feet would not longer keep me up. I had no control over my body anymore. I fell down and passed out. It did stood coma in very rare side effects of the pills. Was this what they meant? I was not gone for very long, maybe 20 minutes or so. I did looked on my phone when walking up, so that is why I know. After that it never happened again. 2 other things come with the pills. I had shakings especially in my jaw. Not big ones, but it felt weird. But I did get my life back in a while and got a job. As a teacher. With a shaking jaw. Funny, I know. Not what one would want if you could choose. But they helped me get that job and climb up from the mud. The third side effect that I got was nothing I noticed in the beginning. But later, when I met my now ex-boyfriend, I realized I could not come. Not with him, not by myself. Very frustrating thing. Everything else I felt, but I could not come. It was like feeling trapped. The body wanted something but could not proceed. Not that I had or have a big need of coming that often, but when you could not choose. That is not fun. A big contrast to sometimes normally not being able to stop get full body orgasms. Yes. Big contrast indeed. Coming in my sleep either I want to or not, and those full body orgasm is so addictive. I cannot stop. The body cannot stop. 20 orgasm later it is not that fun. Tired and exhausted body, and you could not sleep. And you did not chose that. Okay, now I zoomed out a little bit. This happened to me recently, so I think I really wanted to complain a bit about it. One very important thing about this chapter of my life is that I learned to learn. I could not go to the grocery store without panicking. Take the bus. Order in a cafe. But I took it step by step. Maybe walking past the grocery store first a few times before entering. And this made it possible for me to start do things that I, before all this, had problem dealing with. Like take the drive-thru in McDonald's, or like this summer go on the festival suite and rock on my own. So I would not want to not have this experience. Not only because of being able to do more, but also to better understand others in situations like this. I am now so much more humble to people and their struggles. Sad this was needed for that, but it is difficult to understand otherwise. I now have so easy to see if someone is feeling uncomfortable. And also know what to do for that person. To be continued.